Hello everybody, my name is Tuomas and I was actually just taking a shower while this rant came to me, so bear with me. It's gonna be a rambly video. I haven't scripted this out, but it's just a subject that gets me going. It sort of pisses me off. And yeah, I don't say that I know everything about everything, you know. When it comes to the Beach Boys, I'm not an encyclopedic, I guess that's the word. I'm not like that. But the 50th anniversary tour and that whole time frame from around 2011 to pretty much up until this day is in like, because that's the time frame when I've been a fan, like a hardcore fan. And especially the 50th anniversary time is the time that I became a hardcore fan. So these things are in like a relatively good memory of mine in my head. We all know the Beach Boys had a 50th anniversary tour reunion in 2012. So Mike Love, Brian Wilson, Bruce Johnston, Al Jardine, and David Marks. Did I forget someone? I hope not. 5 living original members teamed up and made a new album, studio album. That's why I got me the radio, and a reunion tour worldwide. And the thing is, I don't even know where to start. Okay, so the tour came to a bittersweet ending at the end of summer, early autumn of the same year. And why is that? Well, that's sort of the deal with this video. We'll dive into all of this later when I get to talk about this era more with the album and the actual, like the live shows and the live album that they put out. We are not there yet. I'm doing the reviews chronologically. Anyway, so why did this happen? Well, Al, David, and Brian, we haven't actually heard Bruce's point of view, and I think reason for that is, or opinion, I think the reason for that is that Bruce is mainly in the Beach Boys from a business perspective, and this is actually his words. If you read the Catch a Wave book by Peter Ames Carlin, he tried to interview, and I think he got to interview Bruce a little bit, and Bruce was like, nah, I don't care about the Beach Boys that much. It's not like any sort of artistic thing to me. It's just a business to me. So, you know, so I guess that's the reason why we haven't heard Bruce's opinion about this whole mess. He's been silent publicly. But Al, David, and Brian all wanted to continue the reunion. Mike did not. And that's just the truth, really. Originally, they obviously couldn't know how the tour was gonna, you know, happen. Like, what was gonna happen? Would the fans come and buy the tickets? These sounds, by the way, it's once again Hugo, my French bulldog. He's trying to sabotage my video. Once again. Anyway, they didn't know how the tour was gonna be received, basically. And the album, they had no idea. Because, well, the Beach Boys hadn't been together in 20 years or something. Brian hadn't done a full tour with the Beach Boys since Dennis's passing. Like since 82. Think about that for a moment. It's pretty crazy. Al and Mike didn't get along. Brian and Mike hadn't, you know, got along in a long time. They had sued each other multiple times throughout the 90s and early 2000s. Their management didn't get along. Melinda was very protective of Brian. Without Melinda, this would not have happened at all. That's a fact. So there you go. Mike, when the tour was happening, the reunion thing was on, was kind of publicly, he didn't really say much, but in group interviews they did say that if things go well, they do see it continuing, doing new stuff and so on. And I think Mike did say something along those lines too during the summer, but he was kind of staying a bit in the background when the interviewers asked that kind of stuff. Al was very upfront about like, yeah, like it's going really well and we want to continue. There's no reason to not continue. And Brian said that he wants to do another album and he had already written and was in a very good creative space. So he had already written and kept writing new songs for the like a follow-up album. And David was up for it, and I assume Bruce was up for it too, because why not? But anyway, what happened in the summertime, like I mentioned, I don't have the dates in my head, or like I don't have a script over here, but sometime during the tour, Mike received an email from Melinda that said that no more dates for Wilson. So meaning that no more dates for the reunion thing, like we have booked enough dates and we don't, want to do now more anymore at this time. And a lot of times this email has been used by the, I don't know, lovesters, I don't know. I'm a Mike fan too, so but I don't know. Take that with a grain of salt. As a sort of like, it's all Melinda's fault. It was all Melinda's fault. But it's not black and white, really. We gotta understand and know a little bit of the other stuff that was happening. Well, Melinda was on Brian's side on this one. Brian, during this time period, during the tour, started to get a lot of back issues, which is well documented. Carl had also back issues, so it runs in their family. And he had really serious back pain. And the tour was very hectic. I don't know if Brian actually had been on a tour that big and that size, but probably hadn't been since the Beach Boys in the early 80s. So it was very stressful and hectic. The Smile tour was big and international too, but they were playing smaller venues, like in 2004. So, it was a really stressful, hectic situation, and Brian felt probably very burnt out. And Brian dealt with those things through his manager and management, obviously, of course. Not to cause conflict with the band members and, all that hassle. So, at that point in time, they felt that we can go on with the tour. Brian still wanted to do the album and all of that. Anyway, so basically, like the next day, Mike started to book dates to use the fame and all that press, the whole huge promotion all over the world, the global promotion of the Beach Boys being back together, celebrating the 50th tour, because he still had the license to, tour as the Beach Boys. The reunion, so that it would happen, needed Mike's permission because he owned the name of the Beach Boys. So Mike is also a huge part of the reunion, why it happened. But anyway, like the next day, Mike started to book because there was calls coming from all over the world. Like, hey, we gotta have the Beach Boys. Will you come to play here? Blah, blah, blah. South America and stuff like that. So Mike was like, hey, I can actually capitalize on this promotion that Brian's back and all of that. And book all these dates without actually taking the Beach Boys with me, so I can just continue with my band, and maybe Bruce will join, maybe he doesn't, I don't know. But I'm gonna book these dates anyway. So that's what he did. Like, basically, Hugo! He started to destroy my furniture. So basically, he started to do all that the next day he got that email. A few weeks went by, and those new dates started to sort of pop up, and fans were very, disappointed, but like it was just a very weird situation, because while they were still doing the reunion shows, there were already dates with, like, as the Beach Boys, but without the rest of the Beach Boys being, sold. So people were very confused about, is this a part of the reunion thing or not? And a lot of people bought those tickets for those later shows, expecting to see Brian there, and Al, and David, etc. But that didn't end up happening. Few weeks went by, and then Melinda wrote another email saying that, hey, disregard that, we can book more dates to Wilson too. And I believe that in this sort of period, in the middle of the tour, as I remember, Brian had a procedure done to his back. And it really eased him up, and you can actually see a big difference with his performances, because in the middle of the tour you can see in many YouTube clips and live clips that he's kind of very miserable. Then at the later part of the tour, especially with the last European dates, he's like a newborn person because he had this procedure, whatever it was, done to his back, and he felt a lot better. And then he sort of found that energy and realized that, hey, I can actually, and I want to continue this. But Mike stepped up and said, like, nope, it's not gonna happen. I've decided I'm not gonna do more of the reunion thing, and I don't want to play anymore with Brian, Al, and David, basically. You know, that was Mike's call, and that's a fact. That's a literal fact. And what a mess, really. Like, what a huge mess. So people who sort of apologize for Mike for the reunion tour ending the way it did, it's really hard for me to see where they're coming from, because Mike could have played the thing. If like, it's okay if Mike didn't want to continue the tour, all right, but did he really have to book those dates like right after? In between, like during the 50th anniversary tour? If he wanted to do it classy, he would have had like a year-long break. Then there would not have been any sort of hassle, that sort of chaos that ended up happening. It was really ridiculous and left a really sore note to the whole thing, and in between, like, fans and the group and the music, and it just made everything so sad. It was really sad time to be a Beach Boys fan. It really felt like, like your parents divorcing or somebody really close to you dying or something like that. I know that all of you guys who are big Beach Boys fans and remember that time, it really felt like that. It was like a slap right in your face. And I can't even imagine how much that hurt Al and Brian. And David was, he played it cool, and he then played with both groups later on, so I think he probably dealt with that pretty good, but he must have been disappointed too. But anyway, Al was so much disappointed that, I don't know, like a year later, after his shows, there's that clip on YouTube, he's actually calling Mike whore, and he's like whoring our music, like in front of cameras, while doing autographs. So, he was very bitter about that, and I can't blame him at all. It's really hard to blame him for that. Because the way it ended was ridiculous. Just completely ridiculous. So, there you go. That's just the sort of the way it actually happened. It wasn't the management's fault. It wasn't Melinda's fault. Mike decided not to continue to tour, and that's that. That's just a fact. So, there you go. Let's continue in the comment section. I know that some people will disagree with me and there's gonna be, I don't know, rocks thrown, but I hope that you will still, stay sort of, respectful to each other, and hopefully to me too, a little bit at least. Anyway, there you go. Little ramble. Thanks for watching. What do you think about the subject? Let's continue in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. See you hopefully soon again on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.